Hey, what's going on, everybody? Got the old Mongo Man here, Saturday morning. I believe today is October 22nd, something like that. We are in the midst of an engine start today. We're going to try and get this engine running in KJ's latest acquisition, 1981 F350. It's a 351 modified that we think has been rebuilt, but we're not 100% sure. We're about to find out, though. So come along with us this morning. Get this thing started, break it in. We go from there. All right. Let's see what KJ's into, huh? Well, nothing going on here. Oh, KJ, where are you? I don't know where he's at. There's his truck. His car is gone, though. Suppose I gotta find KJ now. For those of you who may be wondering, that's a building in the making. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about what we're dealing with here this morning. 351 modified. So the 351 modified is a tall block 351. What that means, Ford had a couple engines, 351 Cleveland, and then they went from there to a 400. Well, what they did was they figured out that the 400 was an emissions nightmare, and they wanted to make it a little smaller displacement. So they took the 400 block, put a 351 Cleveland crank in it with a little different piston, a little taller piston, and essentially have taken a 400 cubic inch engine and made it a 351 again. The reason they did that was for emissions back in the mid 70s. And that is what we have right here is a 351M. So it's a tall block 351. Supposed to be really good motors. I've not had very much exposure to them. We did have a farm truck that had one in it, and now KJ has this one. So it's supposed to be rebuilt, but looking at it, I just don't know. The telltale signs are that this thing hasn't been apart. If you look at the water pump there, I don't know. It kind of looks like there's some dirt under that paint, like it's not just fresh paint. Pull this valve cover oil fill off, and it's all blue inside, like somebody just painted the engine and never had it apart. Carburetor, it's got a little 2-barrel on it, nothing special. The old Autolite 2-barrel. KJ came out and covered everything up. Get this tape off of here. See what's locked up on it, what isn't locked up. Everything moves anyway. An accelerator cable, a couple vacuum lines, vacuum trees on it back there, engine oil sending unit is there. Got the power steering system hooked up. KJ did come out today and hooked up the steering. I'm gonna have to find the clutch linkages to get the Z-bar and everything hooked up down there. As you can see, there's nothing hooked up. Come over here to this side and see if we can tell any more of the tail as to whether or not this engine has been rebuilt. It is clean. You can see the head bolts there at the exhaust manifolds all look pretty clean. I just don't know if it's been apart. It does have the 4-speed in it, and this does use the big block bell housing, so this could possibly house a 460, but I'm pretty sure KJ doesn't want to do that right now. We're going to leave it 2-wheel drive. Looks like we got a new U-joint in that drive shaft. Oh, got the new process transmission in it. I think that's the new process. It might be the Borg Warner. I don't know wholeheartedly without finding a tag. But it is a 4-speed. This cab is in really nice shape. It's had corners put on it. But as far as the floor, it is all there, man. No patches in it. Looks like it's just about ready for paint. It is a cab chassis. So I've had some people asking me, what's the difference between a cab chassis and a regular chassis? Luckily, we have 2 trucks here without beds on them, so I should be able to tell you this. If you look at this truck, you can see where the frame actually necks in a little bit right behind the cab. And then from there, the frame rails run perfectly parallel to one another and level. And what that does is that allows an upfitter to put a chassis on this thing, or a different bed, tool bed, dump bed, whatever it may be. Makes it really easy to mount to that frame. So like I said, what you can see here, see how the frame necks in right there at the back of the cab, and then these frame rails run perfectly parallel to one another, and they are relatively level. There is a little hump as it goes over the rear axle, but for the most part they are relatively level across. Looking into the Super Duty, you can see here, now granted it is a Super Duty versus a bullnose, but there's no step in the frame right past the cab. And if you look at this frame, it is most definitely not level across the top. That's because the regular beds give you a little more room to work with. So yep, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try and make this thing run today. KJ is off looking for some break-in oil because we don't know what oil is in it, and we don't know if it's been rebuilt. So if it has been rebuilt, we got to get some break-in oil in it and break this thing in right. So that's the plan. All right, I'm going to run down to Avella real quick, see if there's anything in the mailbox, and then hopefully by then KJ will be back and we'll start wrenching on this. See you soon. All right, so we had a little interruption there. We got some mowing done though, but the question now, KJ was running around looking for that box, which is this box of Royal Purple oil. And Cheryl asked, well, why do you need special oil? KJ, explain to us why we need special oil.
Because the camshaft and the lifters are all new, and if you don't have break-in oil, the lifter will eat the camshaft alive.
He's 100% correct. If you guys watch a couple videos out there, I know DD Speed Shop just went through this where he put together a big block Chevy, and it literally ate a couple of the lifters. A lot has to do with how they're making this stuff anymore. Modern engines all have a roller assembly in them usually if there's a camshaft with lifters. So they actually have a roller that rides on the lifter. But this old engine is a flat tappet, so the camshaft literally rides right on the surface of the lifter. And if you don't have that oil in there, the break-in oil has a high concentrate of zinc in it, which will stop that from happening. And once it rides on there for a while, it actually gets a little harder. It gets work hardened and it won't wear out. So that's what we're about to do here. We got to get this engine broken in. First, we got to make it run. Make it run, we got to make the cab not move when you push on the clutch, which it is one of those things. All right, let's get busy here. All right, so we got it to crank, but I don't have any spark. I think the ignition module might be bad. I'm gonna have KJ pick it up. This is the typical Ford ignition system. So we'll go there and see what happens. All right, everybody, so come back out here and played around a little bit more once KJ got back from town. It was not the ignition module, it was actually the ignition pickup inside of the distributor. So we're gonna go ahead and get a HEI distributor for it. But for the time being, we're going to walk away. KJ took the battery back in, put it back on charge. And now we're going to clean up some tools here and put it back to rest for now. But we'll be back out. Checking the distributor, we did find, like I said, that pickup module is open. So there's no resistance through the pickup module in the distributor. I could get it to spark, but just one spark every time you turn the key off and on, which kind of makes sense. So we're going to go HEI module or HEI distributor. I think they're about 80 bucks on Amazon, maybe cheaper. I don't know. Have you looked it up yet, Kenny? 60 bucks on Amazon. We'll get that put in there and see what we got. We did get the battery wires and everything hooked up. Got the negative cable on it, a nice negative cable off of the Bronco parts truck. And that's kind of where we're at. All right. Till next time. See y'all later.